Haley Lancaster. Not to be confused with the city in Pennsylvania.
Correct.
Right.
Yes.
Speaking of cities, where are you from?
I'm from Toledo, Ohio.
Holy Toledo.
Holy Toledo.
That's right. Is it true what people say?
What is that? That it's holy?
I mean, well, where does that expression come from? It was from a movie or something?
I'm actually not sure. Is it not to do with Spain instead of Ohio, Toledo?
Holy crap.
I don't know.
I have no idea. Well, there's your icebreaker, folks.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow,
That's pretty special.
So you're a local artist.
Yes.
You're posted up in East Austin. That's where you do your art, and you also live over there. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What else do you do in East Austin?
That's a great question. Exist? In my day-to-day, I'm working with various coaches, art occasionally, breathwork, just a whole mix and gambit of things. Coaches, yeah.
What kind?
Breathwork coaches,
Yeah.
health and nutrition, then also other entrepreneurs, just helping them gain clarity within their business, remove any blocks, and then also come up with strategies to scale.
Scale what?
Scale wherever they're at in their current entity. So sometimes it's launching a new brand, sometimes it's, a 12-week course, whatever it may be, just helping them kind of see the vision and then execute on said vision.
And your art, okay? I know that helps you based off of our previous discussion. It helps you in therapeutic ways, right? And any other ways by chance? How does it help you? And then we're going to talk about how it helps other people after that. But how does it help you?
It definitely helps me bring or express emotions I can't bring words to yet.
Express emotions.
Yeah,
see, that's good.
And then it's definitely helped me. I just did all last year a 23-piece series with 23 paintings and 23 correlating poems in which I explored my own coming to consciousness. And so for me, it helped me distill what my healing journey was and pull myself out of a really dark place and live the story as it was unfolding, in a sense.
So let's get a little bit clarity on that, okay? Because you use some words in there that some people might not follow.
Fair
6
enough.
months ago, I probably wouldn't have followed that either. But thanks to Haley here, opening my eyes to this stuff. Yeah. You said coming to consciousness. What is that?
I consider awareness.
Awareness.
Yeah.
And you're saying that, or what I'm gleaning is that you didn't have awareness when you were quote unquote unconscious in that dark period. Is that right?
I would say I had awareness. However, so within the structure or the belief system of consciousness, there is different layers of it. And so I believe that it has to do with the frequency that we're kind of operating at and where we're operating within an emotional spectrum. So every emotion has a frequency that's attached to it. The lowest vibration of emotion is shame. The highest is joy. And as you ascend through the various emotions, you're also ascending through various levels of consciousness. And that helps you live in more alignment, at least from my perspective, have more clarity. To me, awareness can be activated, and it's when you're in a constant state of awareness and living with integrity, living with intention, and getting to do things from that place that then you're operating under a more conscious thing where none of your subconscious programming is no longer controlling your behaviors, your patterns, those types of things.
It seems like you're passionate about this.
A bit, yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of making my life's work, whatever.
23 art pieces and poems. That's pretty passionate. Wow, that's amazing. I'd love to see that, actually.
Yeah.
Are they're on your Instagram, all the pieces, or a good bit of them, or?
A good bit of them. All of them can be found on my website as well. And then I'm working on a book that tells the entire story. It was very intuitively led, and I kind of had to do it. It was poured out of me. I had no choice but to create it.
So wow, you just downloaded it. Amazing.
Yeah. 15 months of work.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
I can only imagine what you were doing before you started that project and what ultimately led to you kicking that off.
Yeah. So I was actually working when I moved to Austin, which was in March 2022, I was working for an early stage breathwork app. So I've been doing breathwork since August 2020.
Because of the app?
No. I just happened to stumble upon this woman, Francesca. My friend got me to do one of her Zoom classes. I did it, and I had this profound experience. And she fuses holotropic breathwork with, which is intended to induce like a pseudo psychedelic state. So really getting your subconscious, activating those delta waves.
Would you mind spelling that?
HOLOTROPIC.
Holotropic.
Yep.
Okay, got it.
So fusing that with subconscious prompts, and I had a profound experience. Like my body was shaking, I had visions, and then everything that I saw in the vision happened a couple months later.
Not.
And
Dang.
I'm getting nervous.
fast forward, there was a couple months later, she was hiring for an assistant, and there's a little ping in the back of my head, and I was like, oh, just throw your hat in the ring. Throw your hat in the ring. And I was like, why? I'm starting a brand new job today. And I was like, I'll just email here. What's the worst that could happen? And so I sent her an email. I sent her my resume, and I'm like, hey, so you're hiring for an assistant. Want to be considered for the job. Here's my expertise. Here's my experience, blah, blah, blah. And she goes, you're way overqualified, but let's talk. And we started exchanging things. So I took her 12-week course, and then I did data entry for her. And then fast forward, she had a vision. She wanted to create a certification. I helped her create the certification. Then while I'm doing the certification, she goes, do you want to be a coach? And I go, no, but if you start an app, I want to be involved. And she goes, okay, well, there's no plan to start an app or a company. I was like, okay. Next day, she pulls me into a meeting on Zoom, and she's like, okay, we're starting a company. I want you to start on the pitch deck. And I was like, okay, let's do it. And then fast forward to March 2022.
What is that?
Actually, fast forward a year to the day of reaching out to be her assistant, I signed an offer letter to be the head of operations for that company. And we start building it, and I moved to Austin, and I give everything, every fiber of my being to that company. Ultimately, her and I split ways because it just was no longer aligning, and there's some...
What about that wasn't in alignment?
I'm a very heart-led person, and I would say that she just prioritizes certain things that don't align with what I prioritize. And she had spent money in various ways that didn't make sense to me. We're operating on limited runway. And so it got to a point where it was just like not making sense. And I should have left a lot sooner. There was a point where I took a vacation, and one vacation throughout the whole year. And the day I got back, she cut my pay by $20K and was like, I wish I could be okay with you taking time off. And I wish I could be okay with you not working around the clock. But came to me in breath to cut your pay. And I was like, okay, well, as a founder, like if I was in her shoes, I would never handle it that way. And so I had a lot of anger in that moment, even though I rarely let myself feel anger. I never reacted, but it was from that moment that it just really was like soul crushing to keep trying to build something where it just felt like I was devalued. And so in January of 2023, I had like a full-on breakdown on New Year's Eve. I had a panic attack, and I was just like, what am I doing? And
what happened on that day?
Well, partly to make up for the salary difference per month, she was like, well, I'll find people to buy a painting from you. So then I was being forced into create paintings to make up for a salary for a job that I had. It was just a really messy thing. So it was taking this one thing that was like purely for me and now making it in a way that didn't feel comfortable. And then I know the New Year's here, and like I'm literally at a New Year's party trying to keep it together. And I just kept going into the bathroom, and I was like, and just crying. Because I was like, this is not where I'm meant to be. Like, I'm not where I want to be. But I couldn't step away. Like, I wouldn't allow myself to step away. Partly because I wanted to control the narrative of like me leaving. It's like, I didn't give up on this thing. Like, this happened because of how she made decisions, not the decisions that I made. But then fast forward a couple of days, on Friday, January 6th, I wrote a letter to the moon.
How do you know that there was that date?
I'm really good with dates.
Are you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I also chronologically went through all 15 months of the unwinding to know exactly when certain things happened.
I see.
And you wrote a letter to the moon.
How do
you do that?
So I'd never done this really before, but...
That's a great question.
I wrote a letter to the moon, and I was like, hey, dear moon, please release me of anything no longer serving me. Express what I wanted to call in, and then express gratitude. Prayed on it, burned it, released it. First thing Monday morning, laid off. And I was like, okay, guess we're really surrendering.
Whoa.
And so I was in a deep, dark, like just kind of like the second that all happened, I worked the rest of the week for them. And then I just like could not leave bed for about 3 months. I was just like, I had given all my energy, all my light, like I'd given everything to build that company and lost myself in the process. And I just needed to sleep and rest and kind of like integrate everything that had happened. Occasionally I'd pull myself out of bed every couple days and just go paint. And I would only paint in black and white for whatever reason. Like I've always been intuitively guided with the colors I select. And it was just like black and white, black and white, black and white. I was like, okay, whatever. And then it was also in that moment and during that period where I was like, you know what? This year I'm really going to surrender, trust, and play, because those are my intention words that were intuitively led to. And I also said to myself, though, I go, you know what? I've invested my energy in other people's dreams so many times. And then at the end of it, I am burnt out and have nothing left to give. Let me see what happens if I just invest my energy in myself.
Wow. That's so amazing.
Yeah. So the past few months I've been getting more exposed to different healing techniques, like plant medicinal journeys, if that's the proper term. What else? I don't know. Just non-pharmaceutical type stuff. Darkness retreats. There's a bunch, the list goes on and on, right? All things that we don't have enough awareness about, people don't have enough access to. Okay, and then breath work is on that list. Okay, now I'm going to bring this up because I think it's super important. Kaylee and I had the opportunity to work with you the other day to do a breath work session, and it was a profound experience. The sensations that I had on my expenditures and around my mouth was so. I have no idea what that was all about. It was so interesting. Well, you told me what it was all about. It's fascinating to me. And then the out-of-body experience that I had, it was like I was dreaming, but I was also awake. I didn't expect that at all to happen. What would you say is the biggest benefit to doing the breath work? And how can somebody really maximize working with it?
I think the biggest benefit of doing breath work is, one, just really understanding your breath and the value of it and how much value it really gives to you. Like, it is our life force and it's our most underutilized resource. And it's one of those things that when you learn how to master it and utilize it and hone it, it can be used in so many different ways, to treat depression, to help find clarity, to, even weight loss. A lot is about like the exhales, like it's releasing oxygen, like so many different things happen because of breath, and it's different types of breath that all will induce different effects. As far as like I don't think there's a one way, I think it's completely unique to the individual. What works best for me may not work best for you, which may not work best for Kaylee. It's for everyone. So I think it's really about, to me, what my breath offers me is an intuitive understanding of myself and knowing where I need to take it, when I need to take it, and trusting that I'm doing the best with it in that given moment. And I think if other people can have that same relationship of just like trusting in their breath to be guided however it's meant to be guided in that given moment. So like, I think there's ways that like you can definitely push yourself to learn new things, but see what you like. Everyone likes different things. It will evoke different emotions for different people. Like, I know certain people would do a breathwork session like that and not really have a profound experience, but maybe they're not open yet to that type of experience. So they need to open in a different pathway. And so,
such as what?
So there's different types of box breathing, maybe like a yoga class would open them a bit more. But I think once you're kind of on the more open, heart open path, the more spiritual path, then you're more receptive to those things. And I would say that like creative people, empathetic people tend to be receptive quicker than people who tend to be a bit more wound up.
How would you explain to a 5-year-old how breath work heals people?
Explaining. I think of the breath as your friend, and it's the friend that keeps you alive. And by learning how to, best play with this friend, then you're really getting like a best friend that just like forever is there, like always waiting for you, always there to calm you, to help you, to heal you, to like play with you, whatever. They want the best for you. And they're always there, just waiting passively.
That's really good. It's really good. So if I were to label you as a person, you seem like somebody that is all about helping other people. Like most of the things that you do is designed to help others, right?
Yeah.
Would you say? Yeah. With your art, with your breath work, things like that. Yeah. Have you always been like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Have you ever had like a selfish period in your life by chance?
I would say actually last year, like doing the art series was the most selfish I'd ever.
Because you needed it though.
I needed, yeah. I mean,
Got it.
in the past, I would just like deplete myself for everyone else. And finally last year, I was like, you know what? Maybe I just like put myself on the list of people to take care of. And then I started putting myself as number one. And so it was like, I didn't have to be at everyone's beck and call. I didn't need to always be there. I could just prioritize myself and just be like, hey, listen, like this weekend, I just need to focus on like writing, or I just want to like have solitude.
Yeah.
Yeah. And not feeling guilty.
There's a book called Give and Take, and it breaks down 3 categories of people: givers, takers, and matchers. Yeah. You seem like you fall in the category of a giver. Does that sound right?
Yeah, that does.
Yeah, historically speaking, they're the most successful type of people.
Oh.
So whatever you're doing, just keep doing it. Just keep doing it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
nice
always
job.
say that.
Yeah.
Whenever I have something I'm looking for, I just say, well, I'm just gonna serve, and then it's not asking because you're coming from service, and then it's just abundance. It just comes back.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite things about you.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, awesome. It's awesome. And back to Haley. Here we go. So let's throw it back, shall we? We got a pretty clear depiction of what you have going on in your life. Well, wait a minute. Do you have any pets?
Well, my boyfriend has a dog named Shay. So
Shay?
Yeah, I've inherited a dog.
What's Shay like?
Oh my God, the sweetest thing ever.
Yeah.
She's a Pomsky. So
Girl.
Yeah, girl. So named after Met Stadium, though.
Shea Stadium.
Yeah, Shea
Is he
Stadium.
from Northeast?
He is from Connecticut.
Connecticut.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So he's a former Mets fan, he says. So he's definitely still a Mets fan.
Fair. How'd you two meet?
Hinge.
Yeah. Local in Austin?
Yep.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
It's actually a really funny story. And I love this because I think you'll both enjoy this.
Please. Yeah.
I was dating someone else, and and this person, like, it was pretty passive, and this person had reverted back into avoidant tendencies. I'm a former avoidant. I went into a breathwork session with the intention of focusing on my art series and like feeling worthy and deserving of like showing my art and like receiving recognition and all of that. And in the breathwork session, it just came through. If you're not stepping in your worth in relationships, you can't step in your worth anywhere else. And I was just like, oh. So I get out of the breathwork and I like type up this whole thing. It was like, it was really nice. But right as I finished typing up, he texted me and I was like, oh no, he texted me. I'm not going to respond. I was like, no. Just because I get a measly text doesn't mean that whatever I felt wasn't valid. And so I just say, hey, I'm not sure what you're navigating in your own life, but my basic needs aren't being met. So I need to step back energetically and view this as a completely platonic friendship. And he completely validated me. Totally fine. Later that night, I felt this thing in my heart and it felt like something unlocked. And I was like, oh my God, something just changed. Like I just broke a programming. Like I broke a pattern that I've already done 3 times. Whoa. Then that night I matched with my boyfriend. Yeah. And I was like, oh, okay. And it was like one of those things that like I asked the universe, I said, hey, I deserve better. I deserve something else. Like this was not aligning. And then it's like, here you go.
That's so powerful that you could feel the, oh my word. I love it.
Yeah.
That is so cool.
So yes, dog.
Somebody, yeah. Thank you for sharing about your sweet pup. Okay. So let's throw way back. You grew up on a close to a farm, not on a farm.
I grew up in the most stereotypical like suburb.
Yeah.
Like 2 high schools, Northview, Southview, 18,000 people.
So it was like the greasers versus whoever.
Yeah.
The outlaws. I don't know. Yeah. Like they were.
West Side Story. It's small.
Okay. What was your experience like in your house when you were under 5 years old? Do you remember that? Do you have visualizations of your house when you're that young?
Yeah. So we lived in a different house. I have a crazy good memory, thankfully. But I have 2 older brothers who are 7 and 10 years older than I am. And then my parents both were working. And so most of my, memories from that was just typically playing by myself, maybe in my room. I think one of my strongest memories of that house is I really wanted rollerblades. And I always got hand-me-downs for my brothers. But them being 7 and 10 years older, hand-me-downs work a little different. So I get this pair of rollerblades and I'm like, Mom, they're too big. She's like, just keep putting on socks. So I think I wore like 5 pairs of socks and my like ankles were caving in. But yeah, we like just lived in a house, and then we moved right when I was 5 into a new house that was in a different school district. So
okay.
That's about the
You said parents always working, you and 2 older brothers. Got it. Okay. What was the ambiance like at the house when everybody was together?
We didn't do a lot of things together as a family. No. So we didn't eat dinner together. Usually we just like make our own plates. Maybe we'd sit in front of the TV in the living room together, or like eat in our rooms. The way that I always describe my family is like we're 5 independent people who happen to be related. My parents were so busy just, trying to make ends meet and stay afloat. And my brothers were, off being teenagers.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
At what point in your life did you first experience fear in your household? Now, we may or may not get back to that, depending on what age you say. So what year?
When I was 12, my middle brother was in his freshman year of college, and he got diagnosed with cancer. And so that was like
that was your first fear experience. Like, oh, snap, my bro is in trouble.
I guess, yeah, at least like from a family dynamic of like fear operating amongst my family. Like that was my first conscious, like everyone's showcasing their fear in that moment versus, Midwest mentality, like very passive aggressive, don't show a lot of things, like no emotion. So like fear was never even shown. And even in that moment, I remember my oldest brother took me down to the cafeteria the day my brother got diagnosed, and he was like, I know you're feeling a lot, but you need to be strong for Aaron. You need to not show anything.
Yeah.
And then the way my family operates, like it reinforced that narrative. But even though no one was saying they were afraid, you could sense it in like energy and just how everyone was trying to navigate like the chaos that was like ensuing, because there's just so much uncertainty when you hear, news about someone who's so young, or anyone. Like,
what was the type of cancer?
He had non-Hodgkin's lymphoma B cell.
Right.
Yeah.
That's super rare, right?
Yeah. Thankfully, totally fine. Like he's
now.
He's healthy and fine. Yeah. But
what's the likelihood of somebody being fine after that? Do you know the statistics?
I do not,
actually. Okay. Wow. Well, I'm glad that everything worked out for him.
Yeah,
Jeez.
me too. Yeah, and it changed my life for the better. It was one of those moments I was like, you know what? Life's too short to be anything other than happy, and life's too short to be anything other than yourself. And before that, I was super shy and introverted, and like really just like stuck to myself, didn't really have friends. And so that really started helping me get outside of my shell and stop being a perfectionist as well.
So when you, let's fast forward a little bit to elementary school now. Okay. You're in school. Some people remember this and some people don't. Well, do you happen to have vivid memories of that time period?
I do.
Yeah. What stands out to you in that experience?
So when I switched school districts, basically I knew how to read before kindergarten. I forgot how to read in kindergarten because it was a new teacher. So I went into a new school district not knowing how to read. And so I had like a speech impediment. So I was in special reading, writing, and speech impediment class. But I always excelled in math and all these things. So it was always one of those things where like I felt this frustration with myself where I was like, I know I'm smart, but I'm not able to do these things. I didn't know that I couldn't do these things. I didn't understand where the like disconnect was happening.
Yeah.
And so there was, and then all I wanted to do was be liked and fit in. But I think
why?
Because who doesn't want to be liked and fit in?
I don't know. Some people pretend they don't care.
No.
That wasn't you.
Oh no, I just like have the biggest heart and I just like want to love people and like be loved. To be honest, like it's pretty simple. But I think as a child, like, when you have all these like little quirks and then you add it with like you're just trying to be a super nice person, people like almost like either find it disingenuous or like kind of prey on it. And so I just felt very isolated most of elementary school, and then felt like I was never good enough. And so like then whenever I had a test, like I would study and study and study. And I was like, I need to get 100%. If I don't, like, I'm not good enough.
Where'd that come from?
I think it was
self-talk? Or was it familial pressure?
No, it was definitely self-talk.
Self-talk.
Yeah, self-talk. But I also think it came from me feeling like I needed to catch up with everyone, knowing that I could like process and understand things really easily, but I didn't have a skill set that was actually required, which was like reading. Okay. So I didn't learn how to reread until about 3rd grade. And then I was caught back up with everyone by 6th grade. So it was just like a very chaotic time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think a lot of kids have gone through something like that.
Yeah.
And it's tough to navigate that when you don't really have control.
Yeah. Or you don't even know necessarily why. Like, you don't understand the root.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. What was it like did you take the school bus?
Mm-hmm.
You did?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So let's say you're getting off the school bus on a Monday afternoon.
Yep.
You walk inside your house.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say everybody's in there.
Okay.
What's it like for you? Were you happy? Were you excited to go home?
No, I felt rather indifferent.
You felt indifferent.
I'd probably like get home, make a Hot Pocket, go into my room and just like draw and play and whatever. Like I had a TV in my room. Like I could just go be in my room for hours. And, yeah.
Why the big gap between you and your brother's ages?
I was the oops baby.
Really?
Yeah.
When your parents told you that, did that hurt your feelings at all?
No.
Okay, good.
No, especially because like growing up, my brothers always were like, "Oh, you're adopted." I'm like, I'm not. We look alike, but as a little girl and like as the youngest, you're like, why am I adopted? Jessica and Aaron told me I'm adopted, and it's like, no, you're not.
Okay.
So no, at that point, no.
So aside from some academic challenges, and being a little confused and lost in that regard, it seemed like a pretty good, reasonable time period for you.
Yeah, nothing like catastrophic or anything.
Okay.
No.
Okay. We'll get there. No, I'm kidding. No, I don't know. We'll see. So let's get up to middle school now, okay? This can be a very interesting time period. The hormones are flowing. Kids are getting all kinds of, growing at rapid rates and stuff. So what's it like for you in middle school? Did you go to a new school for middle school?
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah.
What was it, like 6th through 9th grade?
6th through 8th.
6th, 7th?
Yeah.
So what was that experience like? What stands out to you the most? What did you like about it? What did you dislike?
Middle school, such a weird time.
Right.
Yeah, it's like the real puberty. I think the biggest thing, it goes back to my brother getting sick, but so that happened in 7th grade. So 6th grade, I was still like trying to prove myself and like get all these good grades and be a perfectionist, blah, blah, blah. And my brother was like, Haley, like, why do you care about grades so much? Like, they don't matter. I was like, what do you know? Like, they do matter. And then when he got sick and I was like, maybe they don't matter. Maybe it's just like, the system made by the man in order to like tell us that we're worth something. And so 7th grade, I stopped caring about grades. And like, so it was like a stark difference between those two. And then
all because of that one conversation.
It was a one conversation then fueled by the fact that like he got sick and then I watched him being sick. So it was more of like this, I tend to remember and hold on to things that people say. Or just reflect on it and keep, like, I'm a very introspective person where I'm always seeking a deeper meaning in everything.
You're analyzing.
I'm analyzing all the time, constantly analyzing, and done this since childhood. My mother's always asked, like, aren't you exhausted? And I was like, no, it's just how my brain works.
Well, let me ask you this. Can you see this as your greatest gift as well as your biggest downfall, perhaps?
I think it's my greatest gift. Yeah.
And it stops there. It's just your greatest gift.
Greatest gift.
Okay. Awesome.
Used to maybe not like some, but now I've like befriended my mind, so we're good. Yeah, that's the key. But and then junior high, just like very stereotypical junior high stuff. Like nothing, After my brother got sick, I just like really started like on this path. I think of so in 7th grade when my brother got sick. Before that, I was a super anxious and depressed like person. I would say like I was just constantly kind of sad.
How come?
I think that was, I know I have a really big heart. I think it was more of like subconscious tendencies picked up by like traits of my parents that then I was mimicking or like taking on, not realizing that they weren't mine.
What's a specific example of that?
I mean, just like a overarching sense of just like pessimism. Like I'm a overtly optimistic person. And like I was born with like a super big heart, like always so happy, like gave people the biggest hugs, like made them feel so loved. And that lasted till about like 6. And then like 6 to 7, I started being like super anxious and like in my head and like really scared and fearful and just like uncertain about everything. And
so you experienced fear when you were at 6 years old. You started feeling that.
Yeah.
How'd that impact you the most?
I mean, just living in a constant state of worry is a lot.
Did it impact your actions?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
How so?
I mean, I was just cautious with everything I did. Like, I was very risk adverse. I had a nightlight, but like actually had a dimmer. So I wouldn't even like, a nightlight wasn't enough for me. Like, I couldn't sleep in the dark. It just had this constant fear of like, anything going wrong all the time. Like, I was the type of person, my mom was never afraid of losing me because, like, I wouldn't leave, like, her sight type thing. Like, I was like, oh, no. Like, let's just, like, minimize this risk here.
Wow.
Yeah.
How does that trait show up in your life today?
It actually doesn't, thankfully.
High five.
I know, thank goodness.
I like how you said you befriended your mind. That's actually powerful.
Yeah. And that's why I think that the fear doesn't control me anymore, is because, you know, I think as we're working through things, especially subconscious programming, which all and conditions get programmed into us by the age of 7, fear will manifest itself in so many different ways and look for outlets. And as you overcome those things, as you, you know, shine a light on your own shadows internally, then this fear that like cripples your mind at times just ceases to exist.
So true. So true.
And it's crazy because like you're just like, like that's like my mind is not what it used to be. I'm still me, but my mind does not operate the way it used to.
That's handy because it would mean you wouldn't have any of what you've manifested.
Yeah.
Yeah, what you think becomes true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so true.
It's cool. Okay. Middle school.
Middle school, yes.
What else we need to know about that experience?
Oh, so one of the biggest things that I'd say I learned or I did is it was that year. Like I was like, okay, life's too short to be anything other than happy, anything other than yourself. And I decided I was going to reprogram my brain. I didn't know I was reprogramming, but I was like, I want a positive brain. So I was like, I'm going to flip any negative thought into a positive thought. And so I started bucketing emotions into negative and positive. And I was like, okay, won't let myself feel the negative emotions because if I don't feel them, then I get to be this person. I get to be this light person. And I started just observing what I wanted to be. And I was like, I'm going to observe and then emulate the traits that I want. Later, I learned that's actually not sustainable, but it took about like 15 to 20 years.
You were optimistic at that point.
But I was building towards optimism. Yeah. And so that was like the foundational piece of that. And so, yeah.
Did you get any fights in middle school?
No, I've actually never raised my voice in my entire life.
What about your fist?
Nope.
Right. I expect one to lead to the next. So that's great.
No,
that's great.
So conflict avoidant.
That's so good.
Yeah. I got kind of an off question here. It's totally off base. You know, you're living in the burbs.
Mm-hmm.
You got parents. Did your mom cook?
My dad was more of the cook.
What was one of your favorite things that he would cook?
Well, okay, this actually goes to both of them, but every year for our birthdays, we would always pick our dinner and we'd like cook it at home. And I would always get, I would do city chicken, which is actually pork, so it's not chicken. And
City chicken.
City chicken.
That's fun. Yeah.
It's like ground up pork on a stick that's breaded and you like fry it and then do that with wild rice and then green beans with slivered almonds.
Wow, I've never heard of that.
Might be a Midwest
pretty
thing.
good.
It was great.
I'm glad I asked because I think that most kids have their favorite meal that their parents would prepare for them.
Yeah.
You never know what you're going to get. You know, surprisingly, mine was tuna noodle casserole.
Oh, honestly, I started making that last year again and not a bad thing.
Not bad, right?
No,
the breadcrumbs on top.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, congrats on not having to raise your voice or fight anybody.
Thank you.
That's a big deal. Let's talk a little bit about high school now.
Okay.
How'd you get your first car? Did you buy it? Your parents get it for you? What happened?
I did not. So my middle brother, one summer, he did an internship. And so my parents bought him a car.
Yeah.
And then after that summer was over, they're like, oh, Haley's 16 now. She can have the car. It was a whole thing because my brothers both paid for their own car. And they're like, you're so spoiled. And I was like, it's a couple $1,000 car. Like, it was nothing impressive, but it was, yeah. So I didn't pay for it own, but I had my first job when I was 14.
What'd you do?
It's a caddy.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Do you enjoy golf?
Yeah. And I'm getting back into it. Yeah. I started golfing around the age of 5.
Okay.
But.
Oh, what?
Yeah, I mean, not like my family was they're so much older than me that they would go play and then I would just kind of like putz around. Yeah.
Okay. That house that you grew up in from elementary school all the way through high school?
Until now. Yeah, they still have it.
They still have, they live there. Your folks live over there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, got it. You ever go visit them?
It's been about a little over a year and a half since I've been there.
Okay.
It's been a minute. But
any plans to go back anytime soon?
Potentially in September.
Okay.
Maybe by year's end. We'll see.
Okay. So you're in high school, you get your car, right? It's a big deal for most kids.
Mm-hmm.
What was your experience like?
I mean, it was great.
It was great.
Yeah.
Really?
I mean, you have a sense of freedom and autonomy, and you can just kind of go and take care of yourself and don't have to be at the behold it. Oh, I was so excited too. I joined a gym right away. I had my mom take me and sign up for a gym. I just was like, I can go work out.
You ever get in trouble by your parents?
Nope.
What?
I know.
Really?
Again, risk adverse.
What happened to one of our guests? Oh, it was Courtney. We had a guest. She would sneak out all the time. But it wasn't to do like really bad things. She was, I know this sounds bad. She was going to hang out with older dudes. But time out. It was because she was seeking wisdom.
Okay.
At parties, she'd go talk to the people's parents instead to get the wisdom. She still does it to this day. Okay, she's 28 years old. One night she got back to her house, and she literally did a Ferris Bueller's Day Off setup where she had like the wig and the fake body in the bed, and her dad caught her sneaking in her window, and he goes, Courtney, busted. So nothing like that.
I didn't have a curfew either. No. So like,
Happy.
yeah. I mean,
How does that happen?
I have two older brothers, so by the time I was like there,
Paved the way.
yeah, it was just kind of like, and I just never did anything. I was the type of person though, I'd go to house parties in high school, and then I'd like be like, they're being a little too reckless. This seems like it's not going to end well. I'm just going to leave.
Well,
And then I'd get calls from my friends later. They're like, the party got busted. Can you come pick us up? And I was like, yep, sure. Yep. I had a feeling this was going to happen. I'm like, it just, like there's a time to be risky and a time not. Like I had my fun during college, but during high school, I was like, no, it's just not worth it.
Okay.
I did go to college parties occasionally, but, again, I didn't have a curfew and my parents didn't care.
Instruments?
No.
No instruments? When did you get into art?
When I was 23.
Okay. So a few years after college.
Yeah. I'd say like a year after college. I did a victory lap.
All right. So you again, high school, pretty laid back, formal experience. Okay. You graduate, and then were you ready to just bust out of town at that point? Or were you confused, lost, not sure what the next step was? What did that look like?
Yeah, I didn't really know, but my mother was like, Haley, you're going to college, you're going away to college, and you're paying for it, and you can't study art. And I was like, okay, sure. And I just went to the same college that my middle brother went to, and the decision kind of was like easily made for me in that sense, where I was like, it's 4 hours away. It's a beautiful campus. It's in Southern Ohio. It's rolling hills. It was founded in 1804, like brick roads. It's
fun,
like very picturesque, like stereotypical college town. So it was just one of those things. I was like, okay, let's go do it. New adventure.
What'd you study?
Psychology and sales.
Okay. And what was that like? You said you went to a couple of parties. I mean, you didn't happen to do anything you regretted during college, did you?
I don't regret it, but I mean, it depends on how. I don't regret anything I've ever done. Did I get a little too reckless at times? Absolutely.
Really?
Yeah.
How'd you get reckless? How could you have gotten reckless? You never even got in a fight.
I know. Well, I got a little too intoxicated.
You did?
Yeah. But it was like, but I also had the best experience where like I was under the age, but they didn't give me an underage because I was so respectful and nice. The cops.
Tell me, you got talked to by the police officer?
Well, I got arrested.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Didn't see that coming.
I know.
Person that didn't even get into a fight gets arrested.
I know.
How'd you feel after that experience?
That's what it was.
It was what it was.
Yeah.
Of course you're gonna say that. Of course.
Was it my proudest moment? I was actually, honestly, I was like, I got some good luck, and I was like, thank you, karma gods, because the day I got arrested, I bought my fake ID, and like I got arrested without my purse, so I didn't have any ID on me. I didn't have my keys. I didn't have my wallet. Nothing. And when I came like to, and like I'm like, oh my goodness, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get out of here. My best friend's gonna have all of my belongings. Like I don't need to stress. Everything will take care of itself. And sure enough, when I got out, my best friend had all my stuff. I didn't get an underage. I only had to pay one ticket that was $140, and that was like, it could have been a lot worse. So
seems kind of like a fluke experience too, right?
Yeah.
Like one and done.
Yep.
And nothing really. There was no dark road that led to that. Like, I'm gonna drink tonight. I don't, nothing like that.
No, I was 19 and at a massive like college party.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
I got a fake ID ticket one time when I was in the military.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I wanted to go hang out with my buddies downtown Pacific Beach in San Diego. So I borrowed my buddies. I said, hey, man, let me use your ID tonight. He goes, here you go. And then I freaking walked up to this place, and then the guy says, this isn't you. And then there's a police officer 5 feet away. And he goes, hey. And that guy put my hands behind my thing. I had to borrow my duty van, this military gray van, to go to the courthouse. That was so embarrassing.
Yeah, see, I didn't even have to go to court.
Yeah. Wow. You really did luck out.
I know. So it was one of those moments where I was like, okay, I got this whole experience in this story, but I don't have to, yeah. Dang. Yeah, just a little slap on the wrist.
You never got arrested, did you?
Never, no.
She's too sweet to get arrested.
I don't know. Kaylee's got some stories. Kaylee's got some stories.
No comment. This is not my interview.
Plead the fifth.
Fair enough. So you get into art after, what happened after college? What did you do? Did you got your first job or not your first job, your first out of school job? What was that?
So my senior year of college, I started working for a hotel at the front desk, and after I graduated, I just stayed there. I was offered a really good job coming out of college, and just didn't feel right in my heart. And so I was like, I'm not going to take it. And I remember my mom being like, what do you mean you're not going to take it? I was like, I know where this path is leading me, and I don't want this path. It doesn't feel right. And I remember making that decision. It was like a weight off my shoulders. I was like, okay. I was like, I made the right decision. But stayed in my college town. And my old college roommate went through a phase of being super into Jackson Pollock, and called me one day, and he was like, hey, you want to come over and like get a little high and paint some art? And I was like, yeah, I do. And that's what we did.
On what?
Weed. Mary Jane.
And then you painted.
And then we painted, yes.
Yeah. Was that your first experience with painting?
Yes. In an abstract way. Like, other than like art school, like classes in elementary and school and middle school, that was my first time painting.
Did you feel that with smoking the weed, you were able to paint more freely? Did it help open anything up?
Perhaps. And I think for me, more so what happened was when I flicked the paint onto the canvas, it was like this release. Like I still like remember that feeling in that moment to this day. And I think it was because for the first time ever, I allowed myself to express emotion freely without any judgment, without any restriction. And it was just like a letting go. I was like,
so cool. Yeah.
And I went through 8 canvases. Like I ended up going through all the canvases and went and bought more because I was like, I need to do this more and more. And then I got addicted because I was just like releasing.
Yeah, because if you were never voicing your emotions, that was all inside. And that's how you get sick, right? If you don't talk about that. But you could do it now. That's so cool.
Was sick. I had a lot of immune issues most of my childhood. I forgot about that. Yeah.
What do you mean you had immune issues?
I had pneumonia 5 times before I was 2. I got my tonsils out when I was 4. And then I missed 10 days of school, K through 12th grade, because I was always sick.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. But when you're holding all of your emotions inside, then it festers in your body and manifests in illness.
I was going to ask what all you released. I think Kaylee got the answer. Your emotions.
My emotions.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, you're an incredible artist. You've been doing it for several years now.
9-10 years.
Polishing your craft. When it comes to your work, is it you sell it? Yeah. Okay. How do people find that if they want to
my
get a
website?
Piece? Yeah. What's the website?
HaleyLancaster.com. Yep. And then I also have an Instagram, but you buy it through my website.
Through the website.
Yep.
Okay. Cool. How would you describe what genre is your art?
Abstract and then fluid. I would say like I really go into like the fluidity of abstract.
What are you hoping people to experience when they see your pieces?
I think I have to kind of, in a lot of ways, detach myself from what they experience. I don't want to ever guide someone else's experience with my art. So I actually don't sign my art because I sign it on the back, but never on the front because I want people to be able to control the direction that they hang it. And some of my pieces, like I've done a lot for various friends, and years later, they're like, oh my God, I just saw this part. And I was like, I know, I love that part. Or they'll like see new things. But I hope they just, I don't know, feel something. It evokes an emotion that they hopefully can bring words to. Maybe they can't, but it's just like this rush or sensation or calm or whatever it may be, or excitement or.
Yeah. You got me thinking over here. It's good. Oh, it's okay. Yeah, we're good. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Folks, we got a gentleman, for those watching this episode, we got a gentleman named Frank in the house. Let's give it up for Frank, everybody.
Frank. Woo!
Also into breathwork, military veteran. Thank you for your service, Frank. Yeah. So you started painting when you were 23. Joe Rogan was talking about this, how a lot of the best artists, musicians in the world, they'll be like drunk, high, on some other stuff, then they'll create a banger hit that gets played a million times. It's like, whatever works. Okay, so thanks to your friend.
Yeah.
What's your friend's name?
Joe. Funny enough, yep. Joe Lyon.
Hey, thanks, Joe.
Thanks, Joe.
So what happened? When did you move out of that town where you're hanging out with Joe? When did you move?
So I moved out probably roughly a year later, maybe a year and a half. My brother, actually no, I had to move soon after that, probably 6 months later. My brother and his now ex-wife were having a baby, and she really wanted me to move back and like help take care of it twice a week. And I was like, no, like I can't, I'll never go back to my hometown.
You're not a nanny?
Yeah. Well, I've been it multiple times.
Oh.
Yeah. Funny enough. But I was like, no, like I refused to move back home. And then I went home right after the birth, held the baby, and I was like, all right, I'm moving back. It was just like I knew in an instant. I was just like, I held him in my arms and I was like, I have to move back. And so I went back to my hometown for about a year and a half.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What was that like for you? Because I know sometimes when people move back to their hometowns after they've done the thing, it can be pretty trying.
It was a more introspective time. So I ended up a week before I left my college town. I was like, I just want a job where I work 3 days a week. I don't work weekends. And I like work with this other thing that I have, like taking care of my nephew. And this couple comes into the hotel. They happen to be from my hometown. And we're just like shooting the shit. And they're like, hey, do you have a job? And I was like, no. They're like, oh, our part-time nanny just quit. Do you want to work for us 3 days a week? And I was like, I sure do. And so I went back and essentially was a full-time nanny. And in my free time, I would just do yoga and paint art and didn't care to really socialize with anyone else. And so that was like pretty much my entire existence.
Got it. So you're embedded in the healing space. And you're also working in a therapeutic way with your art. Do you still carry pain with you for any reasons that's prominent right now?
I think for the most part, no. I think I have a lot of irons in the fire right now. And so right now I do at times just get overwhelmed. And with anything, I think, as we grow and evolve, there's just always like a new layer that we kind of have to like get to. Like I'm always like trying to achieve the next thing. And so with that could come imposter syndrome or just fear. But it's not the way it used to be. Like it's just like these micro moments where I'm like, okay, I'm feeling this, but then I recognize I'm feeling it, try to move through it, try to honor whatever's happening and just like accepting that.
And what did you do to develop that skill, that framework? What did you do to develop that? Because not everybody has that thought process, and it's a big deal when they get hit with stuff like that.
Yeah.
For you, you've got like, I'm going to do this, then this, then this, and I'm moving on.
Yeah.
So what did it take to get there?
I think a mix of things. I think it's therapy, breath work, meditating, also just, taking action in life. Like the more action you take and the more things you do and realize that, even if things don't play out exactly how you anticipate them to play out, it's not a failure. And I really love to think of like rejection as a redirection and just like, if you keep just trying and keep doing and keep taking action, like it almost becomes this like muscle memory of like, okay, like it's still okay. Like it's still good. Like we're still moving. We're still cranking. Like it's not the end of this world. And so I think it's, I think one thing that's really important is like, I never put blinders on to one thing. Like I allow this fluidity. I try to find this like balance between surrendering and discipline, which I think like it's the ultimate flow. And within that, it's like, okay, like I can.
Is that the word you'd use, is flow, to describe that?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of ebbing and flowing through life and, but with like directional intent.
You mentioned therapy a minute ago. This is a buzz topic right now.
Yeah.
Okay? Because I heard on another podcast, I don't know what she is. I don't know what she does. But it's all over the internet right now. She says that therapy actually just reminds you of your problems. You talk about your problems, and then they never go away because you're always focused on them and talking about them, right? Now, you said that therapy actually was helpful for you. Now, when I just said that, and then you look back at your history with therapy, when we're talking, you sit across the couch, whatever, right? Has it been purely helpful?
It was for me. And I think my therapist, she took a very mind-body approach. And so I remember one of our first sessions, she asked me, how do you structure your brain? And I was like, oh, I got this. And I like walked her through how I structured my brain.
How do you answer that?
Well,
if somebody asked me how I structure my brain, would you know how to say that, Frank? No.
We have to remember, a very introspective person.
Okay.
I was like, oh,
that's good.
If my overarching objective is to be a good person, then with like these types of things, here's how I prioritize these things. Like, and then anyway, so I walk her through my own structuring. And at the end of it, she goes, don't take this the wrong way. Sweetest thing I've ever heard. She goes, but we're going to deconstruct all that. But as we do, we're going to build you a new foundation. And I think that's actually the thing that helps me now navigate like is I have a strong foundation. Like my foundation is unshakable now. For years it was...
You can't deny that.
Yeah.
That's helpful.
It's super helpful.
Yeah.
And like when I started therapy with her, I did it because I was unable to express emotions up to that point. Like I was in a long-term relationship, and anytime we would have any sort of like, even like small conflicts, since I'm not really a very conflict avoidant person, I couldn't say I am sad or I am upset, or I couldn't even say I would just freeze. And I was like, okay, this is not sustainable. And then I stressed myself into mono, and I had Lyme, and like my central nervous system was like a mess. And I was like, okay, I don't have the right tools to navigate the ebbs and flows of life in my late 20s. And if I'm going to keep being in more stressful situations, like add family, and if I want kids someday, and if I like take more stressful jobs, like I need a better toolkit to navigate life. And so that's what I went to my therapist with. I was like, I need a toolkit to support me in the ebbs and flows in life. And at that point, too, I had two very polarizing sides of my being. I still do, but now I view them, they're friends. But she helped me like find a balance between them and find love and acceptance for each side of them.
Other than therapy, would you say, well, let me ask you this. Would you say that was the primary thing that's been helpful for you, or is there something that's been more helpful for you in your healing journey?
I would say therapy laid a really important foundational level, but breathwork like unlocked everything for me and was like this missing piece for everything.
Yeah. Do you recall when we were first talking, and then your answer was breathwork? I forget what my question was. I said something like, what do you do with all of this? But I don't remember what led up to that question. Do you remember?
I don't.
But
we talked a lot of things.
You remember saying that, though?
Yeah, I do.
That was your response to that? Okay. If I remember, I'm going to bring it up again.
Yeah,
okay.
Please do.
Okay, good. So let's talk a little bit about the big picture here.
Okay.
Okay, because you're very intentional about the way you live. It's clear that you're precise. Okay. And you know what you want, it seems like, right? Where are you going with all this energy and direction? What are you going to do with all of this?
Yeah. So bigger vision, ultimately help as many people as I can. Like, I think my overarching objective in life is to heal and create with myself and others. That looks like a lot of different things, and I'm still figuring out what that looks like. I'm learning that the things that are most important are for me to do activities and things that fuel my heart, like fulfill me, bring me joy, also feed both my left and right brain. And I love like solving questions or being curious about something and then getting to some endpoint. So writing books, holding space for people, painting more series. Like, I think it's going to be a whole mix of things. And sometimes I'll know it's coming, sometimes I won't. And I'll just kind of trust in the process and, kind of be like, but with this larger intention of service and devotion and all of those things. But also being just disciplined and, having just this pure intent and being like, okay, let's do it.
Are there any specific type of people that you're going to help with this?
One thing I do love is like working with creatives or anyone who's like defines themselves as a creative or is on the spiritual journey, who's like really kind of at this like point of inflection of like opening further. I've had some really powerful sessions recently with friends who have done a lot of baseline work. And so now they're at this like next level. And my one friend, I took her through a session recently, and like we ended up she ended up screaming at some point, like just releasing like a lot of these emotions. And like, I was like grounding her energy, and like we started screaming and breathing in sync together. And it was like, and my whole body was pulsating, her body was pulsating. And like afterwards I was like, I don't know what just happened, but like whatever just happened, like it's something I meant to do. I don't know what that looks like.
Let's all do that after the show today. Let's do that. Whatever that is.
But it was like one of the coolest, scariest, like not even scary, but just like what just happened type moments.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So, and so I just want to, But then also I think being a person who can open the door a little bit for people who just, at the end of the day, we all want to be seen, heard, and understood. And if I can make people feel that in some way and like hopefully help them have a slightly better life or more fulfilling life, then like I will do that. But I now know that like I also need to maintain my own energy like first and foremost and find like a balancing act within all of it.
And I was going to ask you about that. Is that something that you're going to do 95% of the day? Work on helping other people in these ways? Or how do you balance that?
I don't know yet. That's
sure.
I think
work in progress.
That's a work in progress. Yeah.
What's something that you're the most grateful for the way your parents brought you up?
They never pushed any of their opinions onto me. They allowed me like an autonomy within my thoughts, and in my opinions, and I think that's a beautiful thing. They both vote differently, and I remember in 4th grade, I asked my dad how he was voting, and he goes, "It doesn't matter how I'm voting; it matters how you would want to vote."
It's a great response.
Yeah.
Wow. Respect.
Yeah.
That's a very good one. I want to write that one down. All right. Cool. When you wake up in the morning, okay, let's say it's a Monday, you think your thoughts that ultimately makes you fly, okay, like Peter Pan. What kind of thoughts are you thinking to yourself that just get you excited about the day?
I don't think I've really done the best job with this. And when we had coffee, you would ask like a similar question. I was like, I should be more intentional about this.
Now's your second chance.
I know. One thing that I really want to be working on is just waking up like immersed in gratitude and like happiness. I think the one thing is like I just have so much going on that like I am excited to just keep pushing everything forward, and like every day I get closer to reaching this vision, I guess, that I've been working on for 33 years of my life supposedly. But then also like that keeps changing, and it's just this excitement that like I get to live this life that I really am enjoying, and that drives my curiosity, fulfills me, like meets me on all sides. So it's just like okay, hey, like this is great, let's do it.
This is one of my favorite questions that I ask everybody. It's how do you define success in a given day?
Wow. I haven't really thought about that, I guess. I think, okay, well, this doesn't sound cheesy, but I think every day is successful, no matter like what the outcome is, because every day I learned something that I needed to know. Like every day, my entire life, like even the most painful days, even the best days, like they all taught me something or gave me an experience. I guess the most successful days are where I'm the most aware and most present of my experience. Because in my awareness and presence within those given experiences, it helps me further understand at least my experience as a human, which then can hopefully at some point relate to another person, like, and help with how I build in my intentional, like how I allow my intentions to build my life.
Okay. Did you catch that?
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Time to play a little game.
Okay.
Lancaster. Okay.
Yep. Right.
Yeah. 6 questions, rapid fire answers.
Okay.
If they're not, look, I think we're not that good at this because somehow, some way, at question 3, we just go off on a tangent talking about whatever. But we'll do our best to keep it rapid fire here. Okay. Ready? And what's your favorite date spot in Austin?
Oh my God, I don't know. What's my favorite date spot in office? I don't have one. Oh my God, this is so bad.
Okay, you're up.
If you could run an event and you were to offer breathwork, what would that look like for you?
Ooh, I would love to do an event where I am mixing painting and art together. And so we have people drop into the breath and really using afterward, like getting them to open, feel, and then emoting whatever came up onto the canvas without any attachment to the outcome. Because I think that's the beautiful thing about abstract art is that no matter the outcome, like it can be beautiful because it's completely subjective.
I love it. That's super cool.
Let's say it's 100 years from now, and your ancestors, no, those are the people before you. What are the people after you? Your kin are watching this.
Yes.
What's a message you want to leave for them?
Be intentional with your life and enjoy every moment.
Next question.
If you could look back at your younger self and just give her that love that you now have or that you had then even, what is the message you'd leave her?
Don't be so hard on yourself. And I love you and it's all okay.
That's so nice.
Don't be so hard on yourself. Yeah, it's good. Do we have 6?
I think that was like 4.
We get 2 more?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I got this. What's your where can somebody catch you when you want you time out in town?
Oh, when I want me time?
Yeah.
Lady Bird Walking Trail, there's like a specific spot that I go meditate at. But just that walking trail in general. Like I love walking barefoot, in the grass, all of it. Gives me all the different like visuals. Yeah.
Total zen.
Yep. Total zen.
Nice.
Yep.
Last one.
What is the way that you ground yourself? Is it besides just walking barefoot? What is a good tool that you use to ground yourself?
Breathwork and yoga.
Yoga.
Yeah, but breathwork and yoga, yeah. And
where do you do yoga in Austin?
Black Swan.
I went there with Nate Ginsberg. Do you know Nate Ginsberg?
I don't think so.
He does a lot of yoga there.
Okay.
He's like always balancing up, doing the handstand.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
One of my best friends is an instructor there.
Oh,
yeah.
That's so nice. Yeah, it's a lovely studio.
Yeah. Hot yoga is the best.
Yeah, so good.
So Haley, is there any other messages that you'd like to leave with us today on this podcast?
Yeah. Life's a garden, just dig it.
Oh my God, Lord, help us, please.
Let's dig.
Just take it. Listen, where's my shovel? Let's go.
How does Joe dirt it?
That's really good. That's very good. And we have your website.
Yes.
Right. What about your Instagram? How do people reach out to you on there?
Haley Lancaster _. Yep.
Okay. Cool. Well, folks.
Oh, and then also, just to mention this real quick, Rich from Rich's Art, we're starting a collaboration soon, and we're going to do Sunday services at the art gallery. So on Sundays, starting July 14th, we are going to do breathwork, yoga, and sound baths.
Stop.
Yeah. Yeah. So catch me there as well. Yeah.
On a Sunday.
Sunday
services.
I got
to do that.
July 14th is starting.
Great.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing.
Oh my God, I love it. I did his collage.
Oh, yeah.
And I made the most amazing piece of art. And I was like, wow, I didn't even know I had this beside me. And I'm going to send you a picture after this.
Oh, please do.
And I actually said to him, I'd love to collaborate. And
yeah.
It's so much fun bringing in all the elements.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
That's
amazing.
One thing I'm really excited. Like Austin has an amazing, conscious, creative community in a way that I've never experienced. And so like, fusing all these amazing people together and just like creating these really powerful events where it's just like such a pure intent of just like, hey, let's all just like coexist and have fun together.
Totally. Have you met the lady from the Hope Center?
Oh, I have not.
Have you seen what she's created? It's next to the airport, and from a top it says Hope.
Oh no!
And then she's collaborating with local artists.
Oh, I love
every
that.
wall.
Okay.
Oh my word! She was on the journey with us like last week.
Oh, amazing!
I can connect you with her.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Love that.
It's taken her like 20 years to build it.
Oh my God,
it's incredible.
Talk about devotion.
Yeah, devotion. That's the word.
Yeah.
We got to take that tour. She invited us to take a tour. It's 80% complete.
Yeah, you guys.
Yeah, we got to check it out.
Oh.
Folks, you heard it here first. Haley Lancaster, thanks for hopping on today.
Thank you.
What a blast. And Frank, for being a lovely guest. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Frank. You're the first guest.
Yeah. And our lovely co-host, Kaylee Bendel. Yeah, in the house. I'm Greg Carlson, Pivotal Moments Podcast. Till next time, everybody, stay fired up.